It's already recorded.
Oh, we are? Oh, shoot. This is Ricky.
This is Siobhan.
This is Kulu. It's Casa.
And we are Culture Visions. So we got a special guest here today. Emmanuel Kulu. Did I say that right?
Yeah. What's happening?
Yeah, why you sound like you about to record?
Don't forget, I used to be a hip hop artist too.
You used to be.
So I still got it. You know
So you can't ever retire.
You really can't.
Right?
You always got it. I did it for 15 years. So
You still can't ever retire though.
Well,
Because
transition is what I call it.
Because it's a boot right in
Transition's a good
there.
word for it.
Yeah,
Because you might, you never know. You might have a feeling you want to do it again.
You never know. I might write for some people behind the scenes or something.
What made you not do it anymore?
Well, I just felt that I was kind of outgrowing hip hop the way it was going. It's not the same as it used to when I got into it. It was more social. It was more political things. Like my favorite rapper was Pop.
Right, me too. I love
And you don't see nobody rapping about social issues no more.
No, because he told stories.
So, top 5.
My top 5, of course, is Pop, number 1. Number 2 is Big. Best rapper of all time is Big. When I say Pop, I say most overall impactful artist. Everybody want to be Pop, period.
I told you that.
Biggie is the best rapper. Nobody pound for pound can rap with Big. Jay, number 3, because he's the embodiment of success in hip hop and longevity. Then I'm gonna say Nas, most lyrical. And my 5th one is always like real controversial, but LL Cool J.
That's different.
And I'm gonna say LL because he the only rapper that survived 4 decades.
Eras, yeah, I agree. I like that.
4 decades. In 4 decades, he had a platinum record in every decade. So
I'll give you that.
standing the test of time.
Wise, yeah,
LL is tough. LL came out 84 when I was born. You know what I'm saying? LL was, man, in the 80s, he's what Jay-Z is to us now.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
definitely big respect to Jay.
So she went right into it about as you get out of it, but like tell us what the group was.
The group was called Teflon E. We started it in 2003. And I came in it to start this movement called the Pain Music Movement, which is street hip hop, hardcore. You can maybe throw some trap in there. We do everything in there. But over time, 15 years, traveling, going back and forth, the sacrifices you got to make to be in the game, it just weighed on me so much. And trying to manage that group. We had a group of about 30 people, models, rappers, singers. So trying to manage everybody and being that dude to actually keep everybody in line, you got to worry about people's situations. You got to worry about if this one can't travel. You got to worry about replacing them if they can't come and perform. It's a lot. It was a lot. So I had 2 children in that process, so I had to think about what was more important to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you had that. You transitioned into doing movies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So do you let that go too, or is it that something that we're going to talk about?
Yeah, I did a movie. The movie, it was actually The Rise and Fall of Teflon E. It was about Teflon. It's actually on YouTube right now. Y'all can look it up, The Rise and Fall of Teflon E. And basically just talks about our journey that we did over 10 years for that record label. So that was my first movie. I wanted to show Buffalo what we were doing for the people who didn't know. So then I went and did The Purge, and I was an extra in American Werewolf joint. That never came out.
I heard about that.
Didn't you do like t-shirts and stuff too, or was that
Yeah,
just your
yeah,
brother?
me
You guys
and-
did that together, right?
Right. Me and my brother did the Plug Life thing. That was the last thing that we just did.
Okay.
And that's still popping
Okay.
too, by the way. Just in different.
Just so you know, I play in a co-ed football league.
Uh-huh.
And this one particular guy always out there with your shirts.
Oh, word.
Brother B.
Brother B, yeah, he always show love. Yeah.
Always show love. He the only guy.
He rocked with my brother Steve though, the one you went to high school with. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, he cool. He bought a lot of stuff from us.
Like all the time. So yeah, whatever color shirt you done he done got.
And Plug Life was a replica of Tupac.
Yeah. Okay.
We was how we got into that is We was the sneaker plug. We was the Jordan
You
plug.
guys
Me and my
were.
brother.
Yo,
So I don't know if y'all know that.
Carl always had the sneakers.
Yeah.
I used to be like, I want these. He'd be like,
Yeah.
let me see if I can get them. Like,
So
nigga.
we plugged
That's
from
funny.
Buffalo to Syracuse.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody was calling us the plug. So my brother came up with the idea. He said, "Yo, what about plug life? You know, not forget the thug. It's the plug life." I was like, "Plug a trendy word right now. Why not?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
It
we
works.
did it, and man, it was amazing. Plug life was a great experience for me.
Great experience. So, for the most part, you really talk about the rise. You never really talk about the fall.
Mhm.
So everything you've done has been about the rise.
Right.
It's been about the black struggle and people rising.
Right.
So now you got the book.
Mm-hmm.
Give us the title and the reason why you came up with the name.
The title is I, Black Pharaoh, Rise to Power. If anybody knows anything about the Kulu family, we African. My father's from Cameroon, and growing up, most of our lives, we kind of more embraced our African American side than our African side. So originally I was going to do a movie on Shaka Zulu, which is my ancestor. As you see, Kulu, connection with Kulu and Zulu. And we ran into some copyright issues with the 1986 Shaka Zulu film.
Right.
So we couldn't do that. So I started looking up other African kingdoms. I came across Mansa Musa, the richest black man, the richest man period was Mansa Musa. He was an interest to me. And Hannibal Barker was another interest to me. The Queen of Sheba was interest to me. And then I came across Tutmosis III and Queen Hatshepsut, which was in Egypt.
Right.
So Egypt is like one of the 7 wonders of the world. Everybody loved Egypt. Everybody want to go there. And I was talking black, white, Chinese, Puerto Rican. Everybody just want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, as I did my own research and studying, I was like, you look at them statues, these are black people.
Right.
These was black African people. So I wanted to tell a story for the first time that's never been told from a black perspective. Every time you look at Egyptian movies, it's Caucasian people or Arab. It's
300.
Well, not 300, but if you look at like Gods of Egypt or 10 Commandments,
Okay.
or there was another movie that had to do with Moses, and they was white people portraying Egyptians too.
Right.
But if you look at the faces on these, on these tombs and on these sculptures, you see that they was black. They don't look nothing like a Caucasian person.
Okay.
But every time you see it in books,
Yes, portrayed there almost like
Movies.
Middle Eastern, like
Right.
a lot of the time.
always.
Yeah.
So I wanted to show the world that this was an African culture, African civilization who built the pyramids. This was not just Arabs or Caucasians from Europe. That didn't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you talk about pronounce the name the woman who ruled the world. What was her name again?
Queen Hatshepsut.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about her and how you talk about her in the book,
Mhm.
so that people can understand what her role is.
Queen Hatshepsut was, how they discovered about her was like, first of all, no one really knew too much about her because she was a woman who ruled as pharaoh. And in those times, that was unheard of. It wasn't done. So what she had to do when she became pharaoh, her husband died. And she was real close with the political people in Egypt, like the council, so to speak, which is like the government. And basically, her husband had put it in pretty much his will for her to take the throne after he leaves.
Mhm.
But she would have to portray herself as a man a lot of times because basically the people wouldn't have accepted her being a woman.
Mm.
So that was one of the powerful things she did. She ruled the world for 20 years.
Being as like a man, woman sort of thing, or just did she
Sometimes
finally come out?
Sometimes
No, I
she
mean-
depicted herself as a man.
That's what I'm saying.
Like so when it came to war, she depicted herself as a man.
Okay.
But the people already knew she was the queen. The people, because they had already come
But
to
the
accept
other people didn't think, they thought she was a man.
Yeah, so if you go to another nation and you're trading with them, you don't want them to know
As a female.
that's a female, right?
But that's so wrong.
It is.
It is.
It
That's
is.
really wrong.
But that's how it was in
Yeah.
those times. It is, But Hatshepsut was even one of the women she went to war with the Nubians and she was in battle. So Hatshepsut was no joke. You know what I'm saying? She was no joke. She was a beast.
So let me ask you, because your story is half truth and half fiction.
Correct.
So how explain to the casual reader, you know, people don't be reading.
Right.
But for the story, how do you get that out? How do you bring that out in the story?
I'm a creator, man.
Okay.
When I talked about being in hip hop, I was a story writer. I wrote about things I seen in the streets. You know what I mean? So when I read the history of some things, there's certain things I can fill in the holes of why certain things happen.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I did that. I kind of visualize. I'm a visual reader. When I'm reading, I'm seeing what's happening.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So when you pick something like this, is this history something that you're just super interested in, or did it start somewhere where you were interested in for your own reasons, for your own family history, and then you just dug into other stuff that was really going on? Like, where did this stem from that this became like something that you're telling us about people that I don't even know?
Right. Family history, number one, with my father.
Yeah.
My mother was a history teacher.
Okay. That's what I was
So,
wondering.
and history was my favorite subject.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, definitely. And African history has been misrepresented.
No, absolutely. That's why it's awesome that,
You
I
know.
mean, like you said, you're letting people know stories that people are going to be interested in, and there's just never dug deep enough. Like, people know like a couple people on the surface that you see other movies about, and then there's people like the woman you're talking about that you're like, oh wow, I didn't know that story.
And you know what's crazy? It's like a lot of people seem to think black is just limited to dark-skinned people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you black. You're black.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So black can range anywhere from blue-black to yellow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when you're talking to some of these scholars, they will make it a debate whether some of these, like Cleopatra, for example, would they say she was a light-skinned woman? Yeah, she could be light-skinned. There's Africans light-skinned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
they will try to make that to say they weren't black African. You know, so that's one of the things that's always been debated, and this has been a debate for over 60, 70 years on who were the ancient Egyptians, because these people were magical people. These people, they still can't figure out how to create pyramids to this day.
So
That was
I wanted
crazy.
to ask you, because I was an interview that you had did, and it was very, very interesting. And you have people who really send you hate mail.
Yeah.
Like, talk
Well,
about that.
it's because they don't want to believe that black people did this. And, you know, particularly the people in Cairo, they believe that they are the original descendants of the pharaohs. Okay. If you go to Cairo, you'll see that most of those people look like they're of Arab descent. They don't look like the people on the statue. It's just is what it is. So when you're talking about black Africans did this, they in their mind can only connect black African to slavery.
Okay.
That's the only thing they can connect it to, that and Bushman, being in the bush, like Tarzan.
Not
royalty.
You know, not royalty.
Not royalty.
So they don't want to believe that black African people did this. Same thing with Napoleon. When